is Jason, and this is Just Watches. Now, Tool Watch Company reached out to see if I wanted to review their newest watch. Now, I've seen their watches on Instagram before, but I've never handled one, so I was excited to check it out. Now, full disclosure, they sent me this watch to review, and they're not asking for it back, but I'll be sure to give my honest opinions on it. Now, before we get to the review, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe, and if you're enjoying the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. This watch will go on sale Monday, March 31st, 2025 and is ready to ship immediately. The price is $295. It is not a limited edition, but they are producing it in small batches. The case is 38 millimeters in diameter, 46 millimeters lug to lug. It is 12 millimeters thick, but 1 millimeter of that thickness is this massively domed K1 crystal, and finally has a 20 millimeter lug width opening. On the stock strap, it weighs in at 65 grams. The finishing is mostly brushed with a few elements of high polish, including the sides of the bezel, as well as the inner part of the bezel. The high polish on the inner part of the bezel plays nicely with the domed crystal and adds a bit more visual interest. The case is basically flat, but the short lug to lug of 46 millimeters is very forgiving. The stock strap starts at 20 millimeters before tapering down to 18 millimeters. The strap features quick release spring bars. The top of the strap is a sailcloth style with a leather backing. The hardware is signed with TWCO. The strap was immediately comfortable, and I think will only get more comfortable as it breaks in. The top layer feels quite robust, but the backing not as much. Only time will tell how well it holds up, but it is a comfortable strap. The screw in caseback helps provide 30 meters of water resistance, which is quite low. However, this is a chronograph, so water resistance is generally on the lower side on this style of watch. I think I would like to have seen a slightly higher water resistance, but the fact that we have a screw down crown on this watch does give a bit more peace of mind. This watch is powered by the Seiko VK64 movement, which is a mecha quartz. This means the watch is quartz, but the chronograph functionality uses a mechanical reset, which gives you that instant snapback when resetting the chrono. You also get multiple ticks per second on the chrono hand, which gives it a smoother sweep than the rigid ticks of a fully quartz chrono. I love mecha quartz movements, and it was a great choice here. The VK64 does feature only a 60-minute totalizer at 9 and then a 24-hour subdial at 3. I don't love 24-hour subdials as they provide very little functionality, but the 2 subdial layout looks clean. The 7mm screw down crown has super chunky knurling that makes it super easy to thread and unthread even between the chrono pushers. The threading and unthreading action is smooth, and you will have no problem setting the time with this chunky crown. Now, I would have liked to see the crown signed, but the chunky knurling looks super cool and makes the watch really functional. The pushers are simple, but since this is a mecha quartz movement, you did get a satisfying click when using them. The double dome crystal is K1. Now, Ben's Watch Club's channel did extensive testing on crystal types, and K1 is more scratch resistant than mineral, but less so than sapphire. The crystal has also been treated with an anti-reflective coating. I think the crystal looks great and adds a ton of character to the watch. The fixed bezel is high polish around the edge and brushed along top with a tachometer scale that is etched into the bezel and filled with black. The inner edge of the bezel is beveled and high polish, which plays nicely with the domed crystal. Now on this watch we have a fully lumed dial. Starting at the edge of the dial, we have black indices for the hours and minutes with a triangle at 12 and a longer bar at 6 to help with orientation. At 12 there is TWCO for Tool Watch Company, and at 6 we have Tool Watch Co. and Chronograph. At 9, we have the minute totalizer subdial for the chronograph, and at 3, we have the 24-hour subdial. All of the markings on the dial are black, which provides a stark contrast against the white lume and helps the watch remain very legible in both bright and dark lighting conditions. The 2 subdial layout looks very clean, and I like that they left the date off of this one. I absolutely love this handset. The hands are jet black and heavily skeletonized, which is a super fun choice on a full lume dial. The hour hand is a broadsword, and the minute hand is plenty long with a large arrow at the end. Now, there is no running seconds on this watch, and the chronograph hand is a simple stick style, but is also super long. Now, these hands really pop against the white lume dial, both in normal lighting conditions and in the dark, and were such a cool and functional choice for this watch. Now, the lume on this watch is stellar. The entire dial is of course lumed with what I assume is BGW9 since it has a blue hue. Since all of the markings, indices, and hands are black on this watch, they all contrast really well against the lume dial in the dark. Here's the watch on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. Now this is a great size for my wrist, but I think it wears slightly bigger than a 38mm, maybe more like 39mm with the all white dial and stainless steel bezel, giving it a bit more presence on wrist. pros and cons, starting with the pros. I love the execution of the full lume dial on this watch. Sometimes full lume dials can look yellowish green, but this one looks very crisp white and has a smooth finish. It almost looks like enamel sometimes. Also, the skeletonized handset was such a great choice. I love skeletonized hands. I think they look really cool. And then with the full lume dial, the hands are basically lumed. I also love the compact size of this watch. It is going to look great on smaller wrists. Finally, I love that chunky knurling on the crown. It looks great and makes the crown a pleasure to use. As for cons, while it is a different layout with 3 sub-registers, which would change the overall design of the watch, Seiko has a VK67 Mecha quartz movement that has a running second sub-register and an hours totalizer in lieu of a 24-hour sub-register. I think these sub-registers provide way more functionality than a 24-hour sub-register. Second, chronographs aren't known for high water resistance, but I wouldn't mind seeing a slightly higher water resistance on this model. As for comparables, this is a pretty good price for a Mecha quartz watch. For about $100 more, you could consider the Nezumi Chrono, which I have a review of on my channel you can check out. Yema also has a Mecha quartz in the Rallygraph, but again, this option is more expensive. Undone does have a Mecha quartz that is about the same price in the Kili that you could consider. So there you have it, the tool watch company Lumecore Chronograph. What do you think about this watch? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.